All right. There we go. Thanks. And Chris from Ivy Tech, can you introduce yourself and let us know what you do at Ivy Tech?
All right, thank you, Mary. My name is Chris Dowse. So my role is a little different. I am currently the interim vice chancellor for student affairs, and I'm up at our South Bend campus. And so I'm up here for 6 months. But in my regular role at Ivy Tech in Fort Wayne, I am the director of retention and engagement, and I coordinate our wraparound services called Ivy Cares. And within Ivy Cares, we have our food bank, our food pantry, as well as on our campus, we have community cupboards, and those are on in each building. So students can access food and different types of supplies that they may need from the cupboards that we have throughout the campus, or they can come actually to the food pantry, which is located in Harshman Hall, and get food that way. So they have a couple of ways they can get food to support whatever need they may have.
You sound like a really busy guy, so thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. And then Nick from the University of St. Francis.
Hi, Nick Oberhausen from the University of St. Francis. I am the Assistant Director of Campus Ministry here. So my job primarily is to build and promote the retreat program here for students. So provide ongoing retreat opportunities for them, but also the service coordination. So providing services, but also coordinating and creating service opportunities for students to engage in. And the food pantry falls under that service coordination portion of my job. And so yeah, I also coordinate the food pantry here. So
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you, Nick. So then the next question for you all is, can you quantify in any way how significant the issue of food insecurity is on your campus? And if you can't do it with exact numbers, do you have any stories or information you can provide about the challenges you're seeing on your campuses with students accessing healthy and nutritious food? Anybody want to go first on that one? Eric, we'll go back to you.
Yeah, sure. I was going to say I'm happy to go. Year after year, we continue to see increased utilization at our food bank. We were just over 5,000 visitors check-ins over the last calendar year in 2022. Up until COVID came, we had one food bank. Then we saw a big need for students to have access in student housing for the obvious reasons. They couldn't leave during that time. So we opened up our second location. And at the time, we kind of called it a pop-up location, not knowing the utilization of that. Was it going to be used and all those questions? And it ended up being so successful that we went ahead and made that a permanent location. So we're open there Monday evening and Tuesday evening from 4 to 7. And then on Thursdays, we're open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that's at our Walb Student Union location. Both locations are open to public and students. However, definitely more marketed towards students over in that student housing location. We would never turn away someone from the public that would reach out to us for that location. But Thursdays, we see about 20% or so of our visitors are public. The remaining 80 are students. Small percentage of faculty and staff that also utilize our services. And that the 5,000 is roughly up about 900 or so visits from the year prior. So.
Wow. Okay. Not this is some sobering information. So thank you for sharing that. Chris, how about you? What kind of information do you have about Ivy Tech and your students in terms of food insecurity?
Okay, well, we don't track the data specifically around students that access our community cupboard, because they can just go and grab. I do know that we're constantly refilling that. So we do know there's a high need. I think with the food pantry, we've seen increase. So we see probably around 100 students a year since COVID, because we are coming off of COVID. So we still have a lot of our classes that are virtual or learn anywhere. So we don't have the same foot traffic with students that we had prior to COVID. And I would see that those numbers will increase once we get classes 100% back on campus. But what we have been able to do, given our course delivery, is providing students with alternative ways to get assistance. So we can write them vouchers to Community Harvest Food Bank, which has been extremely helpful for students because they can then go and shop and get much more than what they could get from our regular pantry. We can also refer them out to other pantries to get assistance as well when the need exceeds what we currently have on stock in our food pantry. So we definitely appreciate that partnership with Roy's team and the good work that Community Harvest and Katie they do over there, because that's definitely been a blessing for our students and they've taken advantage of it.
Thank you. Nick, how about you at St. Francis?
Well, for us, we are still a little bit in the data gathering stage. We are a brand new pantry, so we just opened our pantry this school year on October 5th. But we've had pretty steady use. Since opening, the pantry's been visited, I think about 102 times, 101 times. So some of that is students who have, just come once or twice. Some of those are weekly shoppers. It can vary from week to week, but right now we're, anywhere from, let's say, 7 to 15 a week has been pretty normal as we've opened. So that's, and then as far as the data, I would say that we've had a lot of need and use from international students. There's been a big population that has utilized the pantry here. So,
Okay. Do you have a high percentage of Burmese or Spanish-speaking students?
No, it's a lot of athletes who come from abroad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's been kind of eye-opening. Just sometimes when you're coming from across an ocean, certain resources are just not as on hand as if you live here. So
Right. Interesting. Okay. Thank you. So I guess the next question then that I'll pose to you three is, what other services are you providing in terms of the students who are coming looking for food? Are you trying to help them perhaps enroll in SNAP or access other services so they wouldn't have to constantly come and visit the food pantry? Are you providing any of those wraparound services? Are they needed? Are they necessary? Anybody want to give that a shot?
I can start. We do provide, we can enroll them in SNAP services, direct them to there. We used to have a SNAP 50/50 employment training program. And so that was also a great opportunity for us to get students enrolled, to investigate that and look into it. And if they weren't receiving SNAP benefits, we could connect them with our contacts there and get them enrolled into SNAP, and then get a reverse referral back to our program to get them a credential, whatever it may be. But we also try to connect them with other things that they may need. We have a program called IV Assist, which is an electronic database. It used to be called Big Bertha, now it's called, I think, Find It or something. Its name's changed. And so we connect students to that as well to help them find other resources that they may have. And then we also connect them with, we can connect them with the navigator if it's through CareSource or Anthem to get them additional assistance if they need to find healthcare or some of those things. So we have a lot of things we can connect them to. We have loaner laptops, hotspots, mental health services we can connect them to as well when they come to our office.
That's great. Quite a few wraparound services. Nice. Eric, how about you?
We're kind of actively seeking ways to incorporate SNAP into the food bank, and also had some initial conversations actually just the other day with Lauren with the Veggie RX program to see maybe if there's any way to connect in that way. We offer, that's awesome that Christopher offers all those services right there. Our campus does offer a lot of similar services, just not directly related to the food bank on campus.
Got it. And Nick, how about you?
Right now, we're not set with SNAP. Really, we're just kind of getting started. We're just food pantry. We do have some other services on campus. For example, there's a professional closet for people, who need like interview clothes and stuff like that. For things like that, there are other ones, but with the pantry right now, we're just kind of doing the food. So.
With the food insecurity and the items that you're helping to supply, are you finding that students have a hard time, even cooking them or having access, maybe they don't have access to a kitchen, maybe not even a microwave. So what challenges in or maybe not the knowledge or the interest in actually cooking anything, especially when it comes to healthy foods, are you finding any challenges along those lines that you can talk about? Eric?
Yeah, this is something we're always thinking about and how to incorporate. Can we give giveaways? Like we give canned goods away a lot. Do they have a can opener? Those sorts of things. We've at least once a semester, we try to have kind of a grab and go meal for the students, to where we would put all the ingredients in a bag, provide them a recipe, and then have an option for them to taste the recipe to take with them. That has been pretty popular for students. So trying to incorporate ways like that to get them thinking about ways to incorporate more of those healthy choices, like you mentioned, like, well, I don't really like beans. I'm not really into just eating a can of beans, but if I knew how to incorporate beans into whatever dish that's relatively college student friendly, we try to, and we keep that in mind as well, whether it's microwaves and what they do have available on our campus is, it doesn't have traditional dorm style housing, right? So it's more apartment style. So we know that they have a full kitchen. If they use it or not, I don't know, but we know what they have as far as a microwave and a stove, etc.
That's great. I love that idea of the meal and letting them have a taste of it. That's so fantastic. Chris, how about you? What challenges do you see your students with cooking or being able to actually use and create some healthy meals?
We actually we have a newsletter that we send out on a monthly basis to our students. So we actually created recipes from the items that we actually have in the pantry, so that they know that if they come there, they can, get some of those things to fix different kinds of meals. We try to make sure that anything that we canned goods and stuff that we purchase have pull tops, so that if they don't have the a can opener, they can still access that. We have microwaves throughout the campus. What may be an issue is getting them a microwavable dish and utensils. And so that's something that we need to look in and to explore to see how we would address that issue. One thing that we were going to do was to figure out how could we host some cooking classes or demonstrations in our food pantry. But then I have left the institution So I think that's something that we will explore down the road, of how can we create those kinds of opportunities so they can see how to cook those things. I think one big advantage that we do have is we have a refrigerator, so we have eggs, milk, Lunchables, those kinds of things. So if we're going to do something like that, we can also bring some of those healthier foods into the pantry, and they could come and access those as well.
Yeah, refrigeration is so critical, isn't it? Especially with fruits and veggies. So thank you, Chris. And Nick, how about you? How about your students being able to actually cook healthy meals for themselves?
Yeah, so where our pantry is located, we're located in the basement of our campus ministry building. And in our basement, we have a full kitchen with oven, stove, microwave, all of it. So we've always advertised that students like who use the pantry are invited to stay, and if they wish, they can cook their meals here. So we haven't had a lot of people take us up on that, but it's available. We also have a fridge and freezer. I try to keep certain common spices stocked sometimes too. Things like garlic powder or chili powder, stuff like that. Just like a head of garlic, so they can, because sometimes in your dorms they don't always have those. Maybe they have a salt shaker, maybe, but yeah, some of them don't really have like full pantries in their dorms, so try to keep some of those on hand. During the You Can Crush Hunger, our community nutrition class actually partnered with us, and they did a cooking class night on one of the nights, and they got a list of some of our common items that we keep in the pantry, and they did a cooking class on and created healthy, nutritious recipes with a lot of the items that we commonly have on hand at the pantry. So
That sounds really creative. That sounds fantastic. I love that. Well, you have, gentlemen, you've got a lot of different people from different organizations on this call, both Community Harvest and Associated Churches, City of Fort Wayne, some wonderful church partners, Parkview, Health Visions, FSSA, WIC. You've got everybody on this, or a lot of people on this call, Senator Braun's office. So, what would you say in terms of the community? Are there some things that our community could do to help respond to food insecurity on college campuses? Are there ways that our organizations can work together better or assist you in any of your work? And I know you might not have anything in particular, but if there are any thoughts that come to your head, anybody got any ideas about that?
Our pantry is not, and I don't know if this is unique to the other pantries. Our pantry is not university funded. So everything that we have is through donation or through a grant. So if there are those grant opportunities out there, I'm not familiar with a lot of them. Sometimes our development team will tip me off on some of those, but always looking for funding opportunities, obviously. The partnerships with fresh produce is always something. We have a partnership with our friends from the Purdue Extension Office. Jared's on the call, I saw. So their Master Gardener program has been very generous in donating a lot of their produce during the season to us, which is amazingly how fast that disappears, right? So we're going through it. So there's very little that ever goes to waste. And I know international students were mentioned. Nick mentioned that he has a population that comes to his pantry often. We do too, and it's been really eye-opening for me to see, to experience firsthand how different nationalities are using the vegetables and what types of vegetables they're interested in using and how they use them, and who knows what this is compared to that and all that. that's kind of off topic. But yeah, those are some things. And then of course, any assistance, the getting students connected with SNAP would be something new for us. So any assistance to make it as easy as possible for the student, any information we can have on hand or sit them down and what that process looks like would be much appreciated.
Great. You've got Kim Yan on the call from FSSA, so I may connect you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna just jump in and say, if any of the food pantries want, we have a card that's got the website on it for them to apply. And I can mail some of those out if anybody wants to put their address in the chat. And then we can have some of those sent out to you so they can have them at the pantries.
Great. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Kim.
you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Chris or Nick, any ideas for this group about ways the community could best support your students?
I think, contributing, if they have canned goods, even financially, contributing to support the pantry. We too are driven by fundraising. So it's not fully supported by, the college supports staffing and those kinds of things. But as far as the goods and stuff, we've raised the money to support that, and we've always been successful internally in doing that, but we could use some external help with that as well.
Wonderful. Nick, anything to add?
Yeah, just a couple things. One thing that all of us participate in is in the You Can Crush Hunger competition in the fall, and I think the more the community engagement we get with that, is huge. I know for us, a huge amount of our supply has come from that. And so, in your organizations, getting the word out to your people, if you have people who are part of like any of these communities, as far as alumni or just, maybe you're are in that neighborhood that kind of serves that, whatever it is, just to get community involved. And then I would say also just kind of having the partnership go both ways. I think that one of the great things about being on a college campus is our institutions are surrounded by people who are looking for opportunities, whether that's to serve or an internship. I know us, we have the nutrition majors, who take like nutrition classes. We have a social work major, so connecting with us on opportunities with your organizations on, volunteers, needed or internships or whatever, like how we can, maybe go and just create like a strong community in supporting each other.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you, Nick and Chris and Eric. If you don't mind putting your email in the chat, some people may choose to reach out to you directly to see if they can, assist in some ways. I want to open it up to everybody on the call. Are there any questions that any of you might have of any of our panelists, or suggestions or information to add to the discussion?
Mary?
Yes, hi, Nancy.
Hi. I do have a question because as a member of a church that supports a food pantry and I'm also part of Bread for the World. Often I hear about the need for can openers. Now, is that something like if a church had a can opener drive? Because with Lent coming up, that would be a fun thing to do, but also it would make a difference. Is that something that your food pantries on campuses could pass out, or can openers?
Yeah, Purdue Fort Wayne could definitely do that. And I think it would be something fun to engage the students and inform them about the pantry as well.
yeah, we do pass out can openers here at our pantry, and they have been taken. So it's definitely a need. Yeah, and
And it sounded like maybe even some microwavable, bowls. So if you have a can of soup, you would at least have something to put it in. That might be something that could be needed too, right? Okay, great question, Nancy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Along those same lines, as far as what our pantry seems to go through very quickly when we do have donations, are personal care items or cleaning products as well.
Yeah, that seems to be a need community-wide that we hear over and over again, especially because SNAP won't cover those items. So, great. Rebecca, did you have something to add?
I did. I just wanted to offer it. This may already be something duplicated elsewhere, but one of the things we do at Trinity English is we have a large postcard with about 12 of the locations weekly where people can get a meal. And particularly, we've noticed that we have a Thursday evening dinner and a Wednesday lunch every week that anybody can come to. But we've noticed that during academic breaks, you see more people that look like they may be students. We don't, shake them down for a lot of information, but we are happy to keep that postcard up to date and share with you if that's anything that would be helpful. It just lists the days and times and locations of different organizations and agencies that are making a meal available.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and I think Rebecca's information is in the chat too. If you want to add your email, Rebecca, maybe you already did that. So that's a great idea.
Mary, I wanted to add one point about the SNAP program. Since we're talking about actual students, there is a criteria for the program that a student is not eligible unless they're working at least 20 hours.
Okay.
So there may be a lot of people not familiar with that. So they can't just come on campus, no income and being just going to school and be eligible for SNAP. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for clarifying that, Kim. Anything else that we should know about that in terms of students and SNAP?
Nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head, but if I think of something before we get off, I'll bring it up or put it in the chat. So.
Thank you. I know Meg asked if there were many pregnant or young moms that might be using the food pantries. I don't know if anybody sees that. We also have one of the WIC director on the call too, Tyann from Neighborhood Health. So do you see many young moms or pregnant women at all at your pantries?
I wouldn't say a lot, but we definitely have that population who visits.
Okay.
Or stories that come in that someone living with somebody is pregnant and they've got so many people already living in the house and they have a job, they're trying to make ends meet and they already have 2 kids. And so definitely the youth is a population that we are serving some way.
And I don't know, Tyann, do you connect much with the college campuses?
We don't, but it sounds like we need to. So happy to reach out and share like our income guidelines information along that so that could be shared with the students as well.
Thank you so much. Any other questions from the group? Anybody? Sierra from Parkview just put her information in the chat. Where is she? There she is. Sierra, would you mind explaining what you do, or if Kara would like to do that? I don't know if Michelle's on the call. I'm not sure if you're here.
Sure. I'm a little under the weather, so excuse me.
Yes.
I'm the Parkview Food Assistance Support Team, or for short, FAST, Community Health Worker. It's a new program that we are coming out with, trying to see how we can be of help to the community and connect with community partners in order to tackle the food insecurity need in Allen County. Outside of Allen County, currently, I think we're more focused on Allen County until we expand more. But there's definitely a lot of context here that I'm writing down that I'd love to connect with. So thank you all.
Wonderful.
And actually, I have a question for Chris from Ivy Tech. Do you, excuse me, I have to sneeze.
I'm sorry, it is that season, isn't it?
Sorry. Do you, does Ivy Tech have a projected date for when they are considering being back in person 100% at all? Because I know you said it's kind of slower, being that a lot of your classes and whatnot are virtual still.
That I don't know. I know that each semester we increase the number. I don't think we'll ever go back to 100% of the classes on campus. I think that in this new modern age, students want classes delivered in a variety of ways. So I think we'll always have virtual options for students to attend, but I think that as time continues to pass, students will want to come back onto campus.
Sure.
And to engage, and to get back to that normal. I think COVID has continues to have an impact. And then with some of the other things that are developing, the flu and all that kind of stuff. So I think once, as the world becomes more a healthier place, I think the students will want to come back onto the campuses and engage and take their classes more face to face. And there are students, I'm not saying that the place is a ghost town, because it's not a ghost town. We definitely do have students on campus, but it is significantly different than what it was prior to COVID, where you couldn't find a parking space because everybody was coming on the campus to take classes.
Sure.
So
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions out there or comments? Anything to share? Still have a few more items on the agenda too, so. Anything to share? Okay, well, if something comes up and you want to ask a question as we move along, feel free to do that. You can put it in the chat or just let us know. It's a pretty casual group here. And thanks everybody for putting your emails in the chat. That's very helpful. I will try to send that out as well after this meeting once we get a recording as well. So we're going to move to our Menti little portion. Mark is our Menti genius, which I don't know if any of you know what Menti is. It's just that online kind of a way to get information. We did this at our last Fin meeting and found it to be useful. We won't spend too much time on this, but if you could help us out with this, you either scan the QR code with your phone and use it on your phone, or if you have a second screen, then you go to www.menti.com and enter that code. And we're going to ask you all just a few questions and we can see everybody's feedback live. Mark, anything to add about how that works?
Yeah, once you're in, if you can hit the thumbs up button, just so we know how many people have gotten in, that would be helpful.
Oh, great. Oh, there goes some thumbs already. We got some fast users. I'm not even close. 1, 3, 8, 4. Few good things came out of the pandemic and these meetings, and I think Menti might be one of them. Okay, so on instructions. Well, anybody have any questions or said? I think we're all probably pretty used to this by now. All right. Mark, you want to go ahead, I think, and go to the question?
Sure.
So what was something important that you learned from this discussion, or maybe something you want to follow up on? Just short answers, they'll just sort of pop up, and it could be helpful for our panelists or for other groups to get some information going. So campus context, yes. Nutrition education, and you're already doing a great job with a lot of that nutrition education, but there's always need for more, for sure. Yeah. Great. Thanks. And really thank you to our panelists for contributing, because obviously people learned learned a lot, and we really appreciate you coming and making yourselves available. So thanks, everybody. Okay, let's go ahead to the next one. So this is really important because it can't be just me kind of guessing what might make a good topic for the next meeting. So I would love to know what you think might be some good topics that we could share, or if you know somebody who could speak with us, could even advocacy. That's a great topic. So if you see a word that you like and think you want to vote on, you can type that in again and it'll just get bigger and bigger. It's one of those kinds of questions. We talk about advocacy, and I'm assuming people are meeting, perhaps reaching out to legislators and advocating funding, how to get funding for different programs. I think that could be, yeah, maybe hear from our local food banks and some of the innovative things that they're doing or what their needs are. I like that too. Anybody else? Okay. Less available needs, finding, yeah, great. Grant opportunities are always good, for sure, always needed. Oh, food access in shelters. That's a really good topic. Maybe we could get some people from the YW or Redemption House, those kinds of places. Partnership opportunities, SNAP specifics, yep. Good ideas. If you all have names of people too that I could connect with and you might want to hear from, I would definitely, transportation solutions, huge. Yeah, that's a huge one. Okay. Nutrition awareness. All right. As you're going through your days, if you have any ideas, I would always love to hear about them and ways that we can collaborate and get more information out to everybody. So WIC specifics, yeah, that's great. And I know that WIC is, I believe, moving to an electronic system. So maybe, in the next few months or so, Tyann will know a little more about that, right, Tyann? Hoping.
I hope so. Yes, it's also new and not much information's been given out in regards to the farmers market moving to electronic. Yes.
Right. So we won't put you on the spot yet, but maybe eventually once,
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, once that change happens. So, okay. Great. Well, thank you all for contributing to that. And like I said, please go ahead and keep giving me ideas. This one, would you like the next meeting in Zoom or in person? Will probably be around May or so it'll be warmer. Getting our votes. Awesome. Getting kind of even there. Last time we met, we were talking about quarterly meetings and doing maybe 2 of them online and 2 of them in person. But still, Zoom is pretty, I know, Zoom is super convenient and really allows more people to get together. So we'll keep that in mind as we move forward. It's popular, I get it. Okay, I think that's good. And then maybe the next one, if in person, where would be a good free location? Anybody got any ideas or anything that they want to maybe show off? We could do a little tour as well. No free. There we go. Yeah, well, we might hit up our church friends and see what they're doing. That might be nice too. Community Harvest Food Bank, see what you all have going there. Electric Works Market, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. If people haven't gotten out there, PFW campus would be good to see, especially if you're going to have your farmers market this year too. That'd be nice. Johnny May, for sure. And once that Southeast grocery gets going, maybe we'll take a tour of that too. That would be really, really fantastic. AWS, awesome. Okay, I might be hitting some of you up then for a free meeting room. All right, we've got one more question, I believe. And this you can rank, so you can like kind of drag your first options. This is just a lot easier than me having to do a doodle poll, which is hard to keep track of and that kind of thing. So if you all don't mind kind of taking a look at your calendar and sort of guessing if any of these might work for you, that would be incredibly helpful. Uh-oh, none of them. How is this working, Mark? We can drag it, is that right? Oh. Cool. So as you respond, it all changes. Okay.
Yeah, this stuff actually just takes a little bit longer for people to look at their schedule.
And this is our last question, I promise. So if y'all help us out with this, then we can move on to some more good information. Awesome. Got 11 responses. Let me give a few more minutes for anybody else. Looking like Thursday is not a bad day. Okay. Give you just a minute or two more, and then we probably will just go ahead. I'll send out a calendar reminder and just put that on there. Again, saves us all from having to do a doodle poll that becomes kind of a headache for a lot of people. Any more? Yes, Felicia, I can add you to the distribution list. Yes. Okay, good. Anybody need a little more time?
And I can leave this last question open so you can enter it whenever you'd like to, if we'd like to keep moving.
That's a great idea. Yeah. If you're still looking at it, maybe you leave it up for another 5 minutes or so. Mark, that'd be great. And then I really just wanted to get on the last thing for our agenda is just for everybody here to have a chance to share any new information about programs that you're offering or services that you're providing in terms of food insecurity, or do you need to connect and get volunteers, or, you know, like an update on WIC or SNAP, those kinds of things. I would love to be able to just provide that opportunity for you all to let us know what's going on. Anybody want to start? Mary Martin, are you available? Are you there? Maybe taking a break. I was going to ask her about the farm bill. I know that the reauthorization of the farm bill is coming up, and that'll be a big deal. Kim, do you have any updates?
Yeah, I can just do a quick, legislation was passed that separated continuous eligibility for Medicaid with the federal PHE. So everyone they're sending postcards out to many Medicaid recipients, which most everybody that's on SNAP is also on the Medicaid program, asking them to make sure we have a current address, which is always good, even for SNAP too, and what their current job is. So expect after the end of April, when people start getting their annual redetermination mailer from Medicaid, that we will be closing people out if they turn out to be over income, or if we don't have a current address for them. So. And then as far as SNAP, there is just a couple small tweaks to the food stamp program, or just, to SNAP, that went with the federal PHE, which I saw yesterday. Will end May 10th, I believe. Nothing really big. It was just some specialty for students if they were part of an intern program. They could be on SNAP. That will end. And there was one other one. Now that I want to tell you about it, I can't remember what that was. So
that's okay. And you're saying PHE, what does that mean?
The federal public health emergency. So the federal public health emergency tied a lot of the changes that we did in the way we processed applications for both Medicaid and SNAP, as did the state public health emergency, which that ended earlier last year. So
Anybody want to ask Kim anything further about that?
I'm here, Mary. I just couldn't unmute myself fast enough. I don't have any updates
Okay.
on the Farm Bill.
Yeah. Do you have any updates for us? Because Senator Braun's on the Agriculture Committee, correct?
I do not. I know that he has an advisory board that he meets with. And I know that they had a meeting just before they went back into session. So, you know, I mean, it's coming down the pike. When it does, I can send you the information and you can spread it out.
That would be great. I have everybody on a mailing list here, and I'm trying to keep you all not put too much in your inboxes, but send you all pertinent information. So that'd be super helpful. Anybody else want to share about a new program, a service, a need for collaboration? Andrea?
Yeah, so I was going to, I think pretty much everyone maybe has heard that we received our final approvals for the Southeast Grocery Store. So we're going to be moving forward with that. We will be having a groundbreaking, yes, this month. I guess it is February, right? The 1st. So hopefully I can see a lot of you there for your support, excitement. We're just really thrilled to, have, I don't want to say cross the last hurdle, but I feel like it was a long time getting there. But Hagerman is in charge of all the construction, and they are full steam ahead, ordering parts and pieces and measuring for refrigerators. And there is a community advisory board that will be put together, and then there's also a very detailed community engagement process that will be launched to gather community input on all sorts of things related to the grocery store. So stay tuned for that, but exciting news for us over here. So
Yeah, I
thanks
know
to everyone's support.
We've worked long and hard on putting all the pieces of this together. Not an easy thing to do. So thank you. And this is a great group. If you want to send something out and get feedback from these people, I'm happy to share that with others. Jared just asked in the chat if you have an exact date of a groundbreaking. Do you know yet?
I do not know. But I do know it is this month. They've gone back and forth a little bit on the date and availability, but it will be this month for sure. So as soon as I get that, I can share it out to the group. And I also wanted to, I'm not sure, I see Michelle on here, say special thanks. I don't think it was a huge secret who our partner was going to be, but shout out to Parkview for stepping up and coming along for the ride. So thank you.
Yeah, lots of hard work and a lot of services, full services, as I understand, going to be available, accepting WIC and SNAP and Double Up and GRX and all those great things. So can be a great resource for the community. Anybody have questions to ask Andrea about that?
I just one before we go. Construction, which we've done now this is our 16th year. It happens on April the 28th until May the 7th. And we've got about 9 to 10 high schools and middle schools that are going to be creating these huge creations of canned goods and box stuff. Anyway, on display in the mall. We're really looking forward to it. It's always a great event. We get a lot of food comes in from that, and financial support as well. And so if you're in the neighborhood out there at the mall during that week that it's up, the most fun is actually the very first Friday on the 28th, as the building's happening, to watch these kids working on that. It's pretty amazing. But at any rate, yep. So that's kind of going on here, and we're looking forward to a good year, and appreciate being able to help Nick and Chris and Eric as they do their stuff at their pantries. It's been interesting watching that process. So
yeah, thank you so much, Roy. And again, if you want to send me any specific information, then I can put together an email with all the upcoming events and that kind of things and get it out to this group. I'll wait to do it till I have kind of a good amount, so I don't have to send you a million emails, but anytime you want to share that, feel free to do that. Betsy, I think you had put something in the chat about the upcoming Bread for the World letter writing campaign. Did you want to share anything about that? She might have stepped away, or maybe Nancy.
There is a online webinar on February 25th, which is a Saturday, about our offering of letters for this year. The offering of letters is an activity that we have where we contact our state and national representatives to urge them to pay attention to hunger issues and to do something about them besides just talk. So if you are interested in advocating for an end to hunger, you can put your email in the chat box, and Mary, you can forward it on to Betsy and me, and we'll give you some contact information. I will say that having been involved with this for a couple of years, it's the more and more I look at it, I know when my husband was a pastor at Trinity Episcopal downtown, that we had someone in office say, well, you know, the churches should be responsible for taking care of hunger. And my first thought was, well, what if a church member is hungry? You know, and there's a lot more we can do besides contribute food, which is an immediate good thing, but we need to take a look at ending hunger forever. There's no excuse for it in a country like this. So just let us know if you're interested in getting more information about Bread for the World. And we do have a local Facebook page if you are interested in and you're on Facebook.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Let me see, you know, we did see Chris Dixon from Indiana Tech. You popped in here. So thanks for joining us. Was there anything that you wanted to add about Indiana Tech and food insecurity on your campus?
Not really. I was forwarded this invite from Dr. Stoker, who had a conflict. So I'm really just sitting in to listen and hear what's going on. And yeah.
Great. Well, we're really happy. I just wanted to welcome you. So thank you. We
Thank you.
really appreciate it. Want to make sure that you're included. So anybody else have some, I think we have a couple new people that I haven't met before. Tage and Logan Hafner, would you like to introduce yourselves? Are you on the call still?
I don't know if Logan has a microphone, but he's with Harvest. He's our new grant writer.
Great. Well, tell him welcome. That's wonderful. And Tage?
I'm at United Way of Allen County, the new community impact coordinator, and I'm filling in for Ruthie Hall. She has a meeting this morning, so.
Great. Well, welcome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Building that we're in, so we'll have to come and say hello. Let's see. Anybody else have any updates on programming, services, questions, anything you might want to share?
Mary, I can give a quick update on Veggie RX. So as many of you know, Veggie RX is Parkview's produce prescription program, and we are getting ready for our second cohort, and we are accepting over 400 people this year. So our referral program or referral period will start March 1st, and our programming will start in April. So we're starting a little bit sooner this year and capturing more of that market season. We're excited to get a lot more referrals throughout the community, and I'll put the email address in the chat if you have questions.
Great program that's really ramping up. Anybody else? Jane, you want to update us on your market?
Yes, please. I apologize. I came in late, so I missed. I'm looking forward to seeing a recording, see what everybody had to say. We have with a nonprofit organization called Heartland Communities. We incubate a food hub called Plowshares Cooperative. And we have a mobile market that we're offering. We took the mobile market around to the Mastodon market at PFW last year. It was very successful. We're hoping to take the market to other places. We're really hoping to be at Indiana Tech this year. We've tried to reach out to folks at Indiana Tech and haven't had any real success in finding the right person to talk to see if we can pop up a market for the folks at Indiana Tech. So we're right now we're looking for places to pop up. Last year, we had hoped to have a refrigerated trailer ready to go, and it didn't get ready until the end of the season. But the refrigerated unit is now up and running and ready to go this season. It's really exciting, and so it's, you know, it keeps the vegetables much more fresh in the heat, and it's real easy to bring it around. It you know, pops up with a canopy over it, and then we'll have also dry goods that don't need to be refrigerated in the van that's pulling the trailer. Last year we did like 120 market stops over the summer in the neighborhoods and in places like the Mastodon Market. And we're hoping to do that many again this year. In addition, we do a pop-up market in the Burmese neighborhood that's specifically for Burmese specialty vegetables. And we did another 28 or so markets on the weekends for the Burmese folks. That's also very successful. So if anybody, I will put my contact information in the chat. If anybody wants to talk to me about possible locations that we can pop up and do that market in the Allen County area this summer, I'd like to hear from you.
That's great. Thank you, Jane. And Jane does take SNAP and double that through the Double Up program, and she takes Veggie RX as well. So that's always good to note, making it more accessible. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to add or talk about a program or new service? Is that a yes from anybody? No? Okay.
Mary, this is Mary at Senator Brown's office. I run into so many people that we've got these little groups that are doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this. And what would be the possibility, or would that be too much for us to get these people in and try to collaborate together? You know, if we're missing this zip code on something, maybe we need to do this, or somebody else is doing something, maybe they're overlapping what we're doing, and maybe with everybody getting together, we can spread out farther.
You know, that's really good, Mary. And I think I'm hoping that this group is the first step in greater collaboration in our community, but I think you're right. There's a lot more that we could do. And maybe some of that involves some mapping and some, you know, information about where fresh foods are available and where pantries are available and those kinds of things. I think that's a really great comment. And I think if anybody has ideas of how to go about that and really put together some comprehensive information, I think that would be really, really exciting for our community.
There's a gentleman, I'm going to have to dig up his name, but you know, he has a store somewhere and he just brings in meals from somewhere and people just walk by and grab them. And he tries to use 2 grains and 2 fruits. I know some people that go to restaurants, you know, versus throwing the food away, you know, people putting them in a, you know, styrofoam container, and I'm, you know, talking like a salad, a meal, a bread, and they go and pass that out to people in, you know, certain zip codes. So, you know, we might be overlapping some, I know we're talking about colleges today, but we might be overlapping some areas and not getting to some areas. I mean, I just, you know, you just run into that a lot. And I know that there's other cities like over in the South Bend area, which I cover, that are trying to do that right now.
Yes, you're right. And I think part of the challenge is getting the information out to the people who need it so that they know where the food pantry or where the market is. That's one of the biggest challenges I'm sure most of us face. So that's something we could work on. And I know that the Northwest Indiana has a really active food policy council. I could invite somebody from there to come and talk about how they operate and some of the challenges that they're working on as well. Might be a good model for us to think about. I know we haven't formed an official food policy council, but there are a couple of areas in the state that have done that. So Thank you, Mary. I think those are some good suggestions. Anybody else want to offer anything? We're even going to get out of here a little bit early. I put it for an hour and a half on your calendar, but it's just a little over an hour. So anything else anybody wants to, we'll send out a recording. I'll try to get as many email and phone numbers from the chat, and feel free to send me anything that you'd like to be forwarded on to the group. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.